Myself, Vipin. So I have close to 12 years of experience, and I've been working into BTP areas from the past 7 years. And my full profile is into full stack development, in and around SAP world, basically around BTP. Yeah, that's a very brief introduction about myself. So this training is mainly will be focusing on the BTP side. Yeah, we'll be leveraging a lot of services. We'll see Fiori elements also. Will mainly be focusing on the cloud application programming model. Like if you want to develop something on cloud in SAP world, you need to follow this model. Yeah, so that's very brief, but I hope you have gone through the course content. So, any questions on the course content or anything you would like to ask before I quickly show you? I'll just code something in front of you so that you understand. Little bit. I know it will be a little difficult for you today, but I just want to get started and really see basic things. Yeah.
Is it would be suitable for us, like being from a web background, getting into this CAPM module?
Mhm.
Can we cope with this?
The same question from my side. Is there any prereq knowledge required for this course?
I mean,
Don't have any
I
Fury
would
knowledge or
a little bit of JavaScript, things. So try to go through a little bit of JavaScript because this course will not teach you a lot into JavaScript. Okay, but if you are comfortable with any programming language, it's the same thing, right?
yeah.
You can in any language. So CAP actually supports Java as well as Node.js, and basically based upon JavaScript as well as TypeScript, right? So these three are the paradigms, which this model asset support. And definitely, if you know Fiori elements from your ABAP background, that will be helpful.
Okay.
But I think, come if you want, I can take a quick session on JavaScript, let's say a 2 hours. Yeah, not very detailed, but at least you get a little bit you
Yeah,
get come.
that will be helpful. Right.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So before we begin, I'll just give you a 2 hour session on JavaScript, and that will help you eventually. Let's say you want to become just a UI5 developer. But this is mainly will be focusing on BTP. That's what the ask is on the cloud application programming and leveraging various BTP services. So even if let's say you are more into like someone said techno functional, right? So at least
Yeah.
if some in your team is developing, right, you would understand what he's talking about, right? For example, if
Exactly.
that my pipeline is gone for a toss, right? It does not work, right? And it is let's say some of the tests are failing. Let's say you're writing some unit tests, right? Or let's say the build is failing, right? So you should be able to understand these terms, right? If you're in any of the BTP projects.
Hmm.
And believe me, so those who are into ABAP, I was also into ABAP, right? Long back, let's say, like I said, 7, 8 years back. Initial part of my career was into ABAP and UI5. And yes, it was a little bit of a journey, but believe me, if you want to, move into higher salary bracket, your role, right? Without
Yeah.
BTP, you will not be able to really go ahead. That's what my journey has been, and that's what I can, really uh, tell you on the same that yes, people are doing. So if you follow, let's say on LinkedIn, right? You who all know that there is something called in SAP world. Some people are called developer advocates. Anybody
Honestly, no.
who all are on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm following.
Most of it. Do you open like LinkedIn stuff? What's going latest in SAP? I mean, do you try to see
Not
that? Or,
frequently, weekly once I do actually, but
sorry, please be louder a little bit,
not
Mike.
frequently. Not frequently, but weekly once I log in.
Mm-hmm. So I would highly recommend you start following couple of guys. Okay,
Okay.
because see, everything has to be updated, right? Now with
Correct.
AI coming in, right? With generative AI coming in, right? If you want to apply generative AI, okay, you can't do that
Mhm.
currently in a app. See, there will be a lot of
Yeah.
wrappers. I'm not saying that it will not be possible. Yes, it will be possible, but currently it's not. Okay, and world is moving very fast. So if you follow Chat GPT or OpenAI, right? Does anyone know the latest thing which has come up? If you, I hope you are using Chat GPT, just to have something, maybe something usable in your daily life. Who all are using that?
I think everybody.
Everybody, right? So if you open Chat GPT, they are coming with lot of tools integration, which they call it as agentic AI. Okay, and if you want to, let's say, just leverage LLM models, right? If you want to leverage a basic RAG application. So RAG stands for Retrieval Augmentative Generative AI. Okay, so that's one of the techniques to, basically, if you want to, we can't train those models, right? I hope you understand this. It's very big, right? So you can't really train them. You can fine tune them. So how do you fine tune with your business knowledge, with what you have gained over the years of experience in SAP, right? That's your core thing, right? Domain knowledge. So if you have some business functionality, if you can really fine tune that way, right? You can leverage, you know, generative AI big way, and SAP is really going big. There are, I think, last year, I think 500 plus generative AI use cases were there. I think this year it might have gone to maybe, I'm sure, like more than 1,000. Yeah, by this time. Yeah, it's just a first quarter, right? Or second quarter. We are in second quarter, right? So believe me, it's going to be a huge thing. And if you know CAP, your world is open, right? So you can create this LLM based applications very easily in CAP. There is a nice plugin. I mean, if you want to know more, we'll see in the later half. Those who are really interested, right? What I'm talking about. But I just want to help you in understanding that why to learn BTP, why to learn CAP. You know, those who want to be in SAP world into technical domain, and you want to be higher in the ladder, right? You will become an architect, maybe, right? Maybe not now, maybe 2 3 years or 4 years down the line, right? Then you will eventually start integrating n number of systems, right? If you want to, let's say, I mean, SAP world is just not about S4 HANA, right? How many modules does SAP have? It has a lot, right? Success Factor, Fieldglass, Ariba, right? Conquer, right? There might be a need to get some data, change some data, and then integrate that into, for example, in your backend, let's say S4 HANA, right? So you can't do that without using CAP. Okay. And this is why if you follow LinkedIn, so you can follow a couple of guys. If you want, I can help you. Maybe let me see if you want to go through this, or you just want to get started with the demo.
No, no, it's good to have introduction. That's fine to know the latest skill sets and awareness.
Yeah,
At least for the first time, yeah, introduction. And also, Vipin, I mean, see, I'm not aware about this course content actually. So, are we covering this extensions also, right?
yes, this is all about extensions. So BTP
Mm.
as a platform is all about extensions. So basically, there are two types of extension. One, we call it as in-app extensions, which are basic. I mean, I'm talking about S4, right? ECC, let's say, right? So if you're talking about other cloud products, there is no way to build extensions in SAP World apart from using BTP and CAP. Okay. But if you're
Exactly
talking
from Kappa.
about S4 HANA, there are two ways, in-app and side-by-side. Okay, so this course is mainly about side-by-side. And believe me, even if you're on S4 HANA Cloud, right, that's a future direction of SAP, right? So there are a lot of
Mhm.
customers on S4 HANA Cloud now, okay, public cloud. There also you will not have, traditional way. Either you follow this wrap, embedded steampunk, or you go with CAP. Now, the thing is, if you are a client, right, and if you know that you want to be really upgrade stable, right, and really do loose coupling of extensions, right, so you would go with side by side and not really be stuck within S4 system, right? If you are an S4 system, you can't, for example, today call, at least I have not done that, process, those of you who know process automation, right, SBPA, right? So there is a service called, previously it used to have a BTP workflow service. Now everything is moved to SBPA, process automation. So as good as simply, you create some sort of a workflow, some sort of an approval process, let's say, right? And you want to trigger it. Yeah. In a BAP, in embedded steampunk, it's going to be really hard. Okay. For example, there are problems like user, principal propagation, right? That's main thing, right? Who triggered the workflow, right? So all such things are really difficult to handle, and that's where it is sort of a bottle. See, SAP will not claim that, okay, no, 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 because they have to sell S4 also, right? So they are trying in all the technologies. Okay, S4 HANA, if you really want to build Fiori apps, just plain Fiori apps, right? Have some data model, which is, by the way, is the today's demo because I will not go beyond that. But definitely, CAP has a lot of things which you'll see in the course if you go to the course content. So if you just want to build Fiori apps, yes, you can build using RAP. Okay, but is it the correct thing? It's very limited in way. Okay, so that's I just wanted to set the context why we are learning, what is the importance, and so like I said, right, I was also into a WAP and UI5, right, but eventually I was made to build Ariba extension. I was made to build S4 HANA cloud extensions. Event-driven architecture is very popular nowadays. So you just raise an event, in S4 HANA. Okay. There is a T code called Event Monitor. You can just Google it. You will get the exact transaction code, T code. So you just raise an event and then everything is done on BTP. Okay. The platform is open, right? S4 is just saying, hey, here is my event. That's a very popular architecture, event-driven architecture. Yeah. I hope at least you're convinced why this course is important and how it will help you. But if you still want to be in S4 world and see, there are a lot of ABAP and technical guys, right? I think UFF is also now there are a lot of guys, right? I hope you've seen in the market, right? So now what's the next step? Right? People are talking about generative AI. But you first have to be clear with, for example, in BTP there is a service called AI core. They call it as AI core, and there is AI Launchpad. Okay, where if you want to be in SAP world, you want to build some generative application, that's again a BTP service, right? So all those things eventually will one day or the other you will land it up into BTP, and then you will say, I wish I had learned these things, right? You don't have to be a pro because definitely once you get work, you will get used to this, right? But you should know these things. That's what my point is. But yeah, eventually it's up to you. It's your career. It's your way of thinking. Some people are like, okay, I'm fine with whatever I've been doing, right? And then this layoffs news, right? Correct. So these keep on coming. It happens everywhere, okay, not just in SAP world, everywhere, right? So we get obsolete, right? We know older things, we can't adapt, right? Tomorrow your manager say, hey, I want to do a success vector extension, you will be like, Arey yaar, got it, right? So you should be very much open in SAP world to build any kind of extension, right? It's not just about S4, correct?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, let me share my screen. Any questions? Okay, I think yeah, Vishnu, you were saying, I saw your chat.
Yeah, somehow I'm not able to. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Yeah. So, if possible, can you please give like some 5 minutes brief of the contents of the course? So that would be helpful for us, like what we are
Yeah,
going to.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I'll give you the course content, and what I'm telling you is mainly upon CAP, Fiori elements, doing side-by-side extension, consuming APIs from third-party system, right? And leveraging various BTP service. That's in a nutshell. And how to go through that journey is definitely will get all the course content. It's a big thing, okay? And believe me, you will not find a lot of trainers who will tell you, all of these things real time, right? Event driven architecture. I can bet this. Yes, you might find an SAP developers, okay, but that's those who on YouTube there is a very popular channel called SAP developers officially by SAP, right? But that is something like let's say n number of things, and you want to build on top of that n plus one, right? It's at that level, right? So that's where you have everything available, but it's a lot more scattered on the internet, and you'll not find a single place which will help you learning real time, right? For example, tomorrow if you have to build success factor extension, Ariba extension, you won't need me after your 10 days training. Okay, so the course maybe I'll share my screen. I think it's enough of talking. Rather, I'll share my screen. Let's just see. Screen.
if
If I have, sorry.
any prerequisites that we need to have.
I take JavaScript one session, okay, but it just about getting used to this language. Okay, and it's simple. Okay, like you have internal table, right, in a map, right? Here you have arrays or objects, right? Those who know JSON, right? So it just revolves around these things. So it's not hard like Java that you need to know a lot of data structures. It's just two, three data structures and just about getting used to it. Okay. I think once you attend that session, you want to learn really in you get an Udemy course. Yeah. Just spend some 3, 4 hours. Okay. Just do some hands-on and if you want to be pro in that. This course is not about making you pro in JavaScript, but rather making you learn BTP, right? That's what is the ask is, because JavaScript you'll find course on Udemy, right? I know there'll be a lot of people who will be better than me, so my idea is to go make you go through JavaScript concepts, what are needed, okay, so that there's no bottleneck for us. Okay.
So thank you.
Yeah, could you please confirm is this session is for full day or just for specific time? It was
So the
yeah, right.
original, I mean, basically that definitely you can tell your suitable timings, but I think what I've been told is like more of an hour per day, okay, so that you also get time, right? It's ask 1 to, let's say, 1.5 hour max per day, yeah, and let's say 45 hours to 50 hours is the total length.
I'm talking about today's session.
Sorry.
I'm talking about today's session.
Today's session, it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be more of a demo. I will show you a quick demo.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was more about introduction and if you have any questions. Yeah. See, if I make you go through the course content, you will not understand currently. Uh, but if you still want, I can open maybe a learning journey, okay, on CAP. Because that is the same. Basically, the learning journey will be what definitely you will be able to crack the certification also, right? Maybe I'll show you the learning journey. And the course content is a little bit tweaked. It's more practical, But yeah, learning journey will also help you if you want to just have some text, you want to go through at your own pace. You'll not be able to do it straight away, but let's say you want to do a certification, right? On extensions, on CAP, right? So I'll show you that. Okay. Okay, enough of talking. So I'll share my screen. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one guy. Okay, so you can, follow this guy. Okay. So he talks about CAP a lot. Why CAP? Okay, and believe me, these are really great sessions. Okay, so this is one of the guys who I follow personally. Okay, there's a big YouTube playlist on CAP alone. Okay, let's say 20-25 lectures if you have time. Okay, and he's a developer advocate. Yeah, so he's a developer advocate. So if you follow developer advocates, right? So DJ Adams is basically who I admire the most. This guy is also there, Josh Bentley. He also focusing upon BTP, but also on Java, let's say, right? And this guy, Rich Hillman, those who know ABAP, you should follow him. Thomas Young, I hope you would know him. So he has been there since a lot of time now, I think probably decades. And I think Mamiki was also on ABAP. Yeah. Antonio. So these are the guys who you can, follow. They have the LinkedIn, Twitter. Okay, this guy Kevin is also on CAP. Okay, Nico is also on CAP and UI5, right? So just okay. Maybe I'll paste this link so you guys can really, understand, why they're developer advocates, right? Because they want customers to build upon the good technology, right? Not obsolete ones. Correct? I hope what I'm trying to say makes sense. Okay, so you can follow these guys. They have their LinkedIn community, and you can do all of these things. Okay, and let me also show you that SAP developers YouTube. Okay, so this is that one channel. Okay, so yeah, let me little bit. So you see, this guy is the one. You see live streams, right? There are a lot of live streams. Okay. So, I mean, you should follow this basically. Who all are following this channel? This is not my course, by the way. This is official SAP's YouTube channel. Okay, so if you go to playlist, okay, see AI best practices now. These are a couple of 11 videos around that, right? For CAP one, I think there is one CAP Node.js plugins. Yeah, this is the one, right? 50 sessions. Okay, but this is very very deep, and you will start appreciating CAP basically, right? So you'll understand the in and out. I might not be covering in and out, right? Because this guys know they have built this framework, right? Correct. But as an application developer, what you should know, that is what I will be covering. Okay, but if you want to really go deep, you can start going through this. Yeah. You see event driven architecture, which I was saying, right? CAP Node.js. Okay, just go through and this is like back to basics. Okay. And maybe if you have any queries, can if you have any queries, you can ask me. Okay, I don't mind explaining you because I've gone through all of these videos. Okay, so that I become a pro, right? So that's what the ask is nowadays, right? Fine. So basically we will be building an application, let's say office supplies. Okay, so basically you have some suppliers who are selling some products, office products. Okay, very simple application, and I will basically try to do it locally. I am not going to BTP, but the good thing is that with CAP related development, you can do it locally. You don't need any BTP, you don't need any internet connection, right? Those are from a app, right? You need Eclipse or S4 server, right? Some internet, right? Correct. Please be interactive. If you have any ask, if you have any questions, you can ask right there, then and there. Okay. So so if you are using VS Code, if you are doing cloud native development, so then you don't need any internet. You can do it all locally. Okay, so it's just a demo. So I just created a folder called CAP demo. Okay, just for today's one. So what I will do is basically, like I said, a very basic CAP application. Okay, so let me open the terminal. View terminal, new terminal. Yeah, right. And then what you need to do is you just need to write in a command. So who all know CDS? See, this is just a demo because I'll have to be a little bit quicker for the demo so that you understand. At least you see something right for today. So you know CDS? Any issues in knowing CDS? Or I can also explain what exactly is a CDS view. If you don't know about CDS. Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Any
we
know about
created serious view actually. Yeah,
yeah.
we're using in the web action also.
correct, correct. So CDS view is more of, I mean, it's just a view. Let's not call it view. Nowadays we call it a CDS entity because it creates a table. Okay. So in CAP world, so how is your normal workflow if you are building in ABAP a CDS view, right? You will create a table and then you will create CDS entity on top of that, right? Right?
Correct.
This is like typical thing. So, but in CAP, basically CDS entities are nothing. CDS entity can be a table, it can be a view. So you just need to know CDS. You don't have to know, how do you create a foreign key, how do you add a field, right? Those SC11 things, those who are from a BAP, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
you don't need to know. So it's a simple, if you know CDS, syntax, everything will be done behind the scene. And who does that? It's this CDS framework. Okay, so if you want to see npm second, so let me just check the command npm list all global packages. Okay, so basically I just want to show you npm list. Yeah, okay. Npm list. So basically npm is a package manager. Okay, so if you want to do any development in CAP in Node.js, you need to install this npm. Okay, I'll tell you how to install, but just bear with me for today because I want to show you something today. Yeah, rather not just bore you. So npm is a package manager which helps you installing packages. Packages are nothing like in your web apps you have function modules, right? There will be some in some function groups, right? which you will call directly, right? Call function module, some sort of an reusable thing, right? Similarly, in Node.js world, you have something called npm. It's a node package manager. Okay, so it will show you all the packages which you have and which you want to install. So currently I'm just writing a command npm. You open a terminal, right? So you go to in your VS Code, you go to terminal and say new terminal. Okay, and it will land you to your current project. Okay, and you simply say, I just want to show you what all packages have I installed globally. So either you will install those packages locally or at global level. So let me just say npm list minus g. Okay, and I'll give it depth. I mean, left has 0. Basically, I just want to show the first level modules, because it can happen that one package is dependent upon another package, right? There can be dependency on other packages, right? So I just want to show the depth 0 packages. So it will show me all the, so minus G stands for global packages. So these are the global packages which I have installed in my system. Okay. So these packages are nothing but dependencies. Basically, these are sort of libraries which I'm able to use globally. This is not for my CAP demo project, but these are global packages. Okay. So if you want to understand, one second. Okay, cool. Let me drag here. So if you want to, for example, let's say npm. So if you want to check what all packages do you have, right? npm.js.conf. Okay. So these you can find all of these packages. So let's just write SAP CDS I'll tell you what is this in a while. But how can you check those, right? So you just have to go here and it will try to search. You see CDS right? So if you just click on search, so it says that it's a command line client. Okay, you don't have to, you might not be able to understand fully, but just bear with me. Okay, I mean, for today. Okay, so it basically it's a client and a development toolkit. It's more of a package which help you in building cloud application programming model. Basically, if you want to work with CAP, you need to have this CDSDK. If I open this and I'll show you, those who don't believe me, this is like global representative. It's not even owned by SAP. Okay, so you see there are a lot of updates going on. So 2 days ago, this was updated to 9.1.2. Yeah, this is the package version, like version of the package, right? And if you see, you what do you see this? Okay, I think it just changed. Okay, so weekly downloads are 1 lakh. This is just downloads. Okay, I'm not talking about usage, right? So people per week there are like 1,21,000 downloads. Okay, I don't remember when I installed, maybe 3 years back. Okay, but people are downloading this every week. So you see the craze, right, of BTP. I hope I'm making sense. Please be interactive because I don't want to be just keep on speaking and you don't understand. Okay, so 1,21,000 weekly downloads, and this is the official documentation, okay, of CAP. So if you want to really go in deep, I mean, I would suggest you now, but maybe those who want to really, just get started. Okay. So this is one more link I'm pinning here. Okay. So now this is the initial package, yeah, which you need to have in your system. And that's what we have done here. Okay. So I have this installed. How to install? Again, very simple. You just say npm I, okay, minus G and the package name. For example, over here. So let me just minimize this. So over here, it will be CDSDK, right? That's how you can do. Yeah. Oh, sorry, didn't copy, but I hope you got the point. That way you can install any package, because I'm installing globally, so I have minus G. Yeah. So you need to install a couple of necessary packages before you begin with cloud application development, CAP basically, right? So you need CDS development kit, which I just showed you is a development kit, which will help you in developing. Okay, you will build your CDS models. Yeah, and then your CDS, again one more package. These both are needed. These are like they need to go together. They are both complementary to each other. Okay, so once you install CDSDK, you also need to install CDS. Okay, the same command npm I minus g and then this. Okay, and what you see after @ is nothing but their package version. So the latest was 9.1.2. What I have is 8.9.4, which is fine. Okay, and then this probably is not needed. npm, like I said, you need package manager also. So this is what this npm command, right? This comes from this npm package. Yeah. So you need this. This is something you don't need. All the last three, TS Node, TSX TypeScript. Those who know TypeScript, if you want to work with TypeScript, in CAP you can also use TypeScript. So nowadays, all the projects where I'm working on, we are trying to use TypeScript at least. Okay, either Java or TypeScript. And but yeah, no, JavaScript is also fine. So it's your choice. So it depends upon your team. Okay, but this is like, let's say, you bring in more object-oriented stuff in your JavaScript with types. Okay, but yeah, but these two are mainly have to be there. Fine. So let's just clear the terminal. I'll just say clear. And now what we will do, I will simply, initialize the project. Okay. So how do you initialize a project? Basically, what is initializing a project? You just have the folder structure ready. Okay, I'll just say CDS init. Okay, I'll not do a lot of things. Don't worry, all these things which are coming, right? For example, if I press tab or space, there are a lot of things, right? So this is showing me what I did, a couple of days back. So I've just typed CDS init, the one which you see in white, right? White text, that is something which I'm executing. Okay, so I'm just saying CDS init and I say enter. So you see, it has created a new CAP project. Very easy, right? It has created all of these files for us: app, db, srv, git ignore, some configuration for your code check, packages and readme. So let's talk about what we have done. So now .vs code is more of it just. They that will not be deployed. These are your VS code settings. Okay, you don't need to understand this for today. Okay, these are like if you want to really play around with debugging configuration. We'll come to debugging later on. But yeah, this is more like a local thing. Okay, but the main folders are app folder. App folder is where you will have your Fiori apps. It need not be Fiori. For example, your customers no, will use React, will use Vue.js. A lot of technology, right? So, but everything will fall under app. If you are following CAP programming model, all of your front ends have to be in your app folder. And then the next one is DB. Yeah, DB will hold your database artifacts, basically your CAP entities. So, like I said, CAP creates tables and views automatically behind the scene. Okay. So this we'll see once I add more. But yeah, this is database. Then this is a service layer. So basically, all the OData service, all the REST APIs. Yeah, you would like to expose some data right out of your CAP service, right? So you need to have your artifacts for those in your service layer. All your custom code, right? All your handler code will be here. We'll see. But I'm just trying to help you. Now, git ignore is mainly like what will not be. Those who know Git, can you please help me? Because at least I don't want to go into deep on Git. I can explain in one line also, but if you guys want me to what is Git, then that's another story. Anyone?
Yeah, those files cannot be like pushed into the
Yes,
You're very very basically upload our code there and we can
exactly,
team and work as a
exactly.
team.
Yes. So if you have definitely see a BAP, I'll tell you one more weird thing, okay, which I never understood. A BAP has this activate button, right? So can you guys have to help me here? So let's say there is one big report program, or let's say one big function module. Okay, can two guys work upon that under the same report program? Is it possible in a BAP?
No.
No?
No, right? So because the problem is that moment someone edits, it will allow other changes will be overwritten, right? But
Yeah,
in
locking
CAP,
object.
yes, that's locking of object. But in your typical company, right? If you are building, let's say Abhinesh has to build something on Fiori, he will work upon app folder, yeah. But let's say Hamad or let's say Hamad wants to build, he's good in data modeling. He would like to work upon database, right? And someone who wants to, all things can work parallelly basically. Yeah, Fiori elements can be done by some person, database can be defined by some person, some guy want to write some reusable stuff, right? For example, uploading of file, right? He wants to write some code using BTP document management service. Again, don't worry, we'll see later how what exactly the service. But let's say there is a service which helps you in uploading the documents to the BTP, right? So one guy wants to write code for that, right? So now three guys want to work parallelly within the same CAP application. That is not possible in a app. It's possible in all other, throughout world, but yeah, in CAP also you can do that basically because everything, all the code is getting stored in Git. So you will have one branch, one Git branch for the app folder, let's say one Git branch for the database changes, and one Git branch for the file uploading functionality, right? So all three guys can work independently, right? There is no stoppage, and that helps you work faster, right? So you can build a project. I'll show you just for example, right now I'm talking, I could have generated this app in 15 minutes. Okay. On cloud. Okay. But because I have to explain, I'm going slow. But the point is that you all of you guys can work parallelly also. Okay. So now and then what files do you not, you don't want to be pushed into the Git. Yeah. You'll create a repository in Git. There all of your source code will be placed. But let's say there are some file, there are some, some important files, some credentials, right? Some extra stuff we don't want to push, right? So all of these, for example, I don't want to push node. We'll see what is node modules. I don't want to push this private JSON file, default JSON file, my connection properties file, right? Let's say I have some database connection properties, right? So it generates all of these things automatically. Yeah, but if you want, you can add more. You just say, okay, let's say I don't want to push SRV. Don't do this. Okay, so it will not even push, SRV layer, right? Which is too much. Okay, we want to push, okay, into Git, so I'll not do this mistake. But I'm just saying you can do a lot of things, okay, with Git ignore. Now the next is your ES lint. This is more about this. This has come automatically. Moment I wrote CDS in it, right? Everything came automatically. So this is more about making your code robust. Okay, we'll see what is an ES lint later, no, but just to help you so that you don't get syntax error. Some naming convention, some guidelines you can set up, right? So it helps you in doing those linting checks. They are called linting checks. Okay, and then next is the main thing, package JSON. Okay, so moment I did CDS in it, right? This was the main thing which was getting generated behind the scene. Okay, so what is there? So first is the name of the project, CAP demo, because I was in CAP demo folder, so it created the name of the CAP application also as CAP demo. Version is 1.0, right? And description you can just say a simple project, or I can say demo CAP project, right? Whatever is your project description. Your Git repository you can add here, but yeah, I'm not doing it right now. License, not really needed in your companies because they are like you're doing it for customers, right? But if you want to, for example, SAP is selling, their CAP applications, right? Their cloud applications, right? So they would have some sort of a license. Okay. Private true, this is fine. Then these two are dependencies, right? So any CAP application is dependent upon what is this dependency? These are again packages. I showed you, right, when I did this npm list j, right? So remember it showed an SAP CDS, right? So even though I have it globally installed, but CAP project also needs locally. So that's why it has added this same dependency. I have it globally. Okay. But once you deploy it to cloud, your BTP platform, right? There, this library will not be used, right? So for that purpose, you need this dependency, CDS. Yeah. You don't need DK because DK is just for development. It's a development kit. But this you definitely need for your runtime. And this is needed by, for example, by BTP environment, by Cloud Foundry. Okay. Next is your Express. Now, what is this exactly Express? Again, it's a dependency. You can check on npm.js. Yeah, we'll see later on. But Express is more about building an API. Okay, so I have defined my database. You know what is an API, right? I don't want to go into that level. You all know what is an API?
Yeah, application process.
So API helps you in exposing your data to outside world. So let's say you have some, let's say Salesforce guy, okay, you have Salesforce also, your customer has Salesforce also. Okay. So he will like to use your API and post some data, right? So he needs an API to post the data. Yeah. So that you can build it via Express in Node.js. Those who know Java, in Java you have Spring Boot, but yeah, we are not going to learn Java here. So yeah, it's a Express library. Okay. This is the dependency. And then next is dev dependency. Now, what is the difference between these two? Dev dependencies are just for your local development. Okay. They will not be used in BTP environment. They'll not be used in running actual live application. For locally, you can have n number of dev dependencies. Okay, they are not really needed in your productive application. So basically, I've added two dependencies, dev dependencies, CAP.js SQLite. Now this is, so if I'm creating a table, right, through CAP, let's say we'll do that in a while. I need a database, right, to store those tables. So that is possible via this SQLite. So I hope you know SAP's main database is HANA, right? But that's very expensive, right? I mean, just for local development, I don't want to, play around with that. So for my local development, I'll use SQLite database. Okay, you can install it in your system. But even if you not have, because we have added in dev dependencies, moment you run this project, this will also get deployed. I mean, sorry, this will also get installed only in your application, not within your system. Okay, all these dependencies and dev dependencies are for your project, are for your CAP application. Okay, so this is that dependency, local database. And then the next is your CDS types. So this will just help in auto completion. Okay, if I, for example, in a BAB, if you have to define a view, right, it'll just say define, it automatically suggests the next word, right? This is just for auto completion. Okay, and these are the versions. Okay, so basically this caret sign is saying that more than 8, more than 8, but what, will it be 8.0.0, will it be 8.0.1, will it be 8.1.1? So that, how do you understand? So if you see anytime this caret sign, it says that pick the latest of the 8th version. So for example, if let's say I have 8.9.4, right? Let's say, on the npm js, it is 8.9.5, so it will use 8.9.5. Okay, so pick the latest one. Similarly for Express, yeah. And now what is this script? So script basically means if I have to run this application, right? How do I start this application? So we have added a script called start. I can give any name. Okay, I can, for example, say start local. Okay, this is just for when I'm running application via terminal. Yeah, over here, I can simply use this script. I can define my script. Fine. And then that script will run this command. Again, cds-serve is the command, okay, by which you can run the application. Is it fine? So let me show you. I have not done anything, so I'll simply run the application. I'll just say npm. How do you run the script? You have to type in npm run and then your script name. So my script name is start-local, right? Let's see what happens. Okay. Any guesses what will happen if I just do this? Anyone?
CDS run will CDS
I
run.
I
It
don't have.
logged in your machine.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. So I don't have anything. I don't have any database. Nothing is there. It's plain empty project, right? If I just do this, you should see an error. It's trying to start. What is it saying? And it could not find a CDS model. It does not have anything. It is expecting at least one, one table to be there. Okay, so that it can do something. Yeah. So now, before we go ahead further, before we run, I would, because you have added these dependencies and dev dependencies, right? So I would advise you before you even run this start local script or this command cdsr, both mean the same. Either I run npm run start local or I just say cdsr. They both will mean the same. Okay, if I just say cdsr, you see the same error, right? So both are same. You can define a number of scripts or you can use inbuilt commands. Okay. Now, before you do run, so first thing is moment you have initialized your project by CDS init, you install the dependencies. dev dependencies as well as dependencies. So for that, you just need to say npm install. Npm install or npm I both are same. Yeah, I'm just saying npm install, and let's see what happens. So you see, it has added 130 packages. 130 packages. We thought maybe we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Max. But it has added 130 packages. Okay. And now let's see where are these added. So they are added in node underscore modules. So now if we expand this, okay, I'll show you. For example, let's just see this SQLite where it is. Okay. So it starts with @cap -js. Let's expand this node module. Let's see what all it has. CDS types. You see the CDS types? See this? Yeah. Similarly, you should see SQLite. You see? Correct. So all these are packages. You don't have to understand the code, but you can also debug this, by the way. Okay. It's like debugging a standard thing. Okay. So this is like the standard code. Okay. If you go library, all these are JavaScript based code. You don't have to go and understand, but if you are really curious, okay, what goes behind the scene, you can always go to this code, node module section. You see, it has added a lot of libraries, right? Correct. Did we add this directly? No, we just added these four, and it is doing the magic, right? So let's just try now. Right now, also we have the some node modules, but if I again do CDS serve, it still says that it needs a model, right, to start the application. Okay, let's just add a model. So I'll go to database. Okay, so in database, what do? You define the database entities, right? So let's create a schema file. I'll right click and say new file plus schema.cds. I'm defining a schema. Schema is nothing but sort of a container. I mean, you can name anything. Okay. So I'm just schema means basically I'm defining the database artifacts. Yeah. So in schema, I will, for example, let's just add a supplier. Supplier table or an entity. We call it as entity in cap. So let's first just define a namespace. So what is a namespace? Namespace is basically, basically once these artisans get deployed to database, right? So they will all have this prefix, whatever you define in namespace. Okay, so let me just say office supplies. Okay, .db. Under this namespace, all of my entities will fall in. Okay, so don't go by this automatic thing. So I have, GitHub Copilot. So it is automatically predicting, but we will write line by line. Okay. And so now I'll just define an entity called supplier. Entity suppliers. Okay. So I'm not going by this code completion. I'm just typing. So you just say entity and then suppliers, and then you give this curly braces. Okay, fine. But let's not. I'll try to see how I can turn this. It is suggesting a lot many things. This, GitHub Copilot. So entity suppliers, I've just defined an entity, and let's define some fields. Okay, let's just say key ID. Okay, now ID, I mean, it is suggesting integer, but in cap you have an inbuilt type called. So it's basically SCAP also provides a lot of inbuilt types. Yeah, string, integer, right? But there's also an inbuilt type called UUID. Anyone knows this UUID? Have you seen this UUID? No. So you see, if I just
Yeah, I saw it, but I don't know the significance of it.
so UU
It's a
UU
for
UUID is just an 36 length character. So basically, it will always be unique. Okay. So for example, if I just say integer 1, 2, 3 can be not it will not be unique, right? But UUID is always unique. Once they are generated, they are like Bitcoin. Okay? So once you have your Bitcoin, in the world, right? You can't destroy that, right? And you can't have the same Bitcoin ID again, right? It's like that. So this UUID will always be unique throughout the world. Okay, it will never be same across different systems, different applications. It's like universal ID. Yeah, I think it stands for unique universal identifier, something like that. Okay, fine.
We've been in normal SAP development, we basically get the data from the uh, uh, data dictionary,
Yes.
or we use the OData services if
Hmm.
we are exposing data to the web environment. So there's a confusion point why we are creating our own database here and creating, you know,
So this
and
is this is the yeah.
SQLite is similar to HANA database because all I saw uh, the tutorials are they're using the SQLite and creating their own entity. Why we're not using the OData real example here? And is there any
So I got your point. So see, this is just a. I mean, let's imagine I am building a Fiori app, okay, where you can maintain the products given by suppliers. Okay, that's why my namespace is Office Supplies. Okay, just a full-fledged Fiori app. Okay, it's a side-by-side extension which will be deployed on BTP. And let's say some functional guy will come in and he will maintain the suppliers and their corresponding products. So everything is custom here. But yes, we will see once we have reached that level, how do you consume an OData? Right? For example, you want to get the suppliers from any API. You want to get the suppliers from S4HANA, right? That is possible via OData API consumption. But to reach to that level, you have to understand this, right? So it's not also you always create Z tables, right? You also get Z tables, right, in your ABAP world, right? If it's a completely custom process, it's like that. So it's a completely custom process. So imagine nothing exists, okay, right?
okay, got
It's a
your point.
completely custom application. Yeah. So you see, without the building steps, I can't go. Okay, that's how you will be blown away, right? So let's
Uh,
take time. It's just a demo, so I am just building a small Fiori app. Okay, and now I'll add, let's say, an identifier. This is the supplier name, and let's use this, suggestion by Copilot. Okay, so it's a string 255. So 255 length. Name is also fine, and okay, let's just have phone string 20. See, it is auto completing. I hope you are fine with this thing, right? Or do you want me to type? I don't want to waste your time. So, phone, and then let's say, uh, okay, email. Okay, let's not have address. Let's just have postal code. Postal, okay, postal code. Yeah, and then city. Okay, city, country, and that's it. Fine. So we have just these entries. So don't go by the length. See, my idea is not to, exactly, okay, why the postal code is of like 10, city, countries of 100, right? So let's not go into that level. I'm just defining some fields. Okay. Now I have the data model. Let's try it now, right? Now let's just see what happens. I will just say CDA, okay, npm run start local, right? This was the thing in packages. I'm running this script, or I can also do CDS server. Let's see now what happens. And here you go. What do you see? It has loaded your model, which is nothing but your database table defined under schema. And you see the next line, CDS as a tool also deployed your database to SQLite, right? So it has deployed this entity. What do you mean by deploy? It has created a table out of your CAP entity. Is there anything called entity in terms of database concepts? No, right? There are tables, views, like that, right? In database term. So this entity, it understood that it has to create a table. Okay. So that's why it has to deploy this. So it is deploying your artifacts, currently only one entity. So it is only deployed that to SQLite. Okay. And then URL is memory. So basically, it is running in my RAM, in my memory, in my application. Okay. So moment I stop this application, now how do I stop this application? You see this line, terminate with Control C. So moment I, let's say you have some value in the supplier table, okay, which you have entered, let's say the Fiori app, and because it is in memory, moment I stop the application, the database entity entry will be gone. Yeah, it will be removed from the database. That's the idea of memory. Okay, so in package JSON, by default, it will use this SQLite and in memory. You can also override this, that we'll see later on, but let's just, understand what has been done. Then it starts a server. Why does it start a server? Anyone? Which dependency it is using to start the server? Anyone? I told a little while before, if you have paid attention, which dependencies out of these four is being used to create a server?
Uh, CDS?
No, CDS. CDS is very generic. CDS is doing all of this deployment, connecting, starting. You know, yes, CDS is also needed. You're right for running this command CDS serve, but the actual server is started by this Express. Okay, so today we are using CAP Node.js. Let's say you don't want to use CAP, you want to build, the other companies they use Node.js very popularly, right? So they use this Express. So SAP is building on top of that. So Express is the module which starts this server. And believe me, I mean, if someone knows Node.js, I mean, those who guys are actually building from scratch, it's not so easy to start a server. There are hundreds of lines of codes. Okay, let me show you. I will just say I'll ask. Okay, let's not. I just say okay. Can you tell me how to? I'm just showing you how do you start it. I can also write code, but I don't want to bore you. How to start a server in a Node.js Express application. Express is basically a mechanism to create a server and then expose APIs out of that server. Yeah. Do you see this? Oh, okay, it took CDS. Okay, sorry. Uh, let me again type in. Can you tell me how to? I think it is referring to my, create Express application without cap and expose a simple endpoint. Okay. So I just want to expose an endpoint. Okay. Without using cap. You see all of these things? Are let me rerun this. Okay. Audio became low. Okay, yeah, well, you can rejoin. I think let me refresh. Arre, public code. Okay, 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 okay. I think it is a little bit weird. Let me do it. I think it is blocking. Maybe not allowing. But there's some issue basically. Yeah. Let me. Okay. Let's just bring this guy here. Okay. And I'll just Google it up. Okay. Create a Express application in Node.js. Yeah.
May I know
Like,
the name of this copilot? How we can add this? Like it's
yeah, this is GitHub Copilot. So you can Google it out. So
okay.
basically, it will. I mean, if your company is sponsoring it, nothing like it. This will help you in automating, a lot of things, and you can really. There are a lot of things like you have ask mode, which you can just simply ask. There's very popular agent mode. It's like it will write code for you, but I won't suggest. But if you want to have some code and you are not feeling like definitely have to review, you can use this agent mode also. So
Especially
it's just a
helping
plug.
in
Sorry.
Linux command and code correction, right?
This is basically I'm using my company system, so that's why it is blocking. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Uh, so this I thought it will be fine, but yeah, it's fine. We can. I just want to show how to do it in you basically like we do CDS in it. Yeah, you have to do NPM in it. You see, CDS in it is more of a wrapper on top of this, right? For making our life easy. It creates a package JSON file. It installs Express, which we also have, right? And then you need to create this app.js file or server.js file. And this is the code to create a server, right? You require this dependency. Basically, you get a function called Express. Then you invoke this function, you get an app. Yeah. Out of this, after you call this function, you get an app. And then you're defining a port on which you want to run your server. And then you're saying, okay, if someone does this, if someone is on main route, yeah, local host 3000 port, it will just say an hello. Okay. And then it is then listening to this port. So you see a lot of boilerplate code, right? Anyone who would like to start a code, right? I mean, sorry, anyone would like to start an Express server, they will all follow the same, right? So that's why SAP avoids this boilerplate code. You understand now what is a boilerplate code? Something which is, you are focusing on domain, you want to write some meaningful code and not really be bothered with this. Yeah. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So same thing. I mean, how it is doing behind the scene. You don't have to worry. Okay. So it deployed your database to your in-memory database. I mean, it deployed your this entity, yeah, which is under this namespace in memory, and then it started a server. Okay. And now let me just bring this guy and let's just open this. What is coming? Okay. Da-da-da-da. There I. Hmm. Okay. So I will run this simply localhost, 404. You see, a nice UI. Did we write any code for this? No, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is simply, it is saying welcome and it is serving our application, but we don't have any endpoint exposed. Okay. Why we don't have? Because we just have created a database entity and there is no API. Yeah. So let's just create an API. So for that, you need to make use of this SRV folder, right? So now I will keep this here only so that, okay. So now what is the next task? We will simply go to anyone SRV folder, right? And let's just create a service and let's just call it as everything is a CDS file. Okay. So this database also has to add with .cds file. We'll understand later on, but for today, just remember that every database or a service artifact, as long as it is not a custom code, it is you are more of a following CDS guidelines. You're defining, you're following CDS syntaxes. Yeah. So they should end with .cds. So this is a CDS syntax, right? This is not a JavaScript code. This is not a code which JavaScript or Node.js understand. This is SAP specific or CDS specific code. So those files should end with .cds. Okay. So let's just say I'm just giving a service name and any name you can give. Office supplies hyphen service .cds. Yeah. Fine. So now what is our job? We just want to expose this entity. Yeah. And let's just say first of all, we need to use this schema, right? Use this entity so that I can expose an API on top of that. Yeah. So I'll just say using, okay. And I will just say, I'll not use auto suggestion from, okay. And then my file name. Yeah. What is the reference? Dot db slash schema dot cds. Right. You can say dot cds or without dot cds is also fine. Compiler understands that. And then a semicolon. Right. So what I have done, so this is my folder, right? So I go one level up, right? So I am in my here in my service. So this file is under SRV folder, right? So I go one level up, which is my DB folder via this dot dot, and then I say go to DB and then go to scheme. So I'm just referring that file over here. And then what do I want to refer? This supplier's entity, right? But like I said, so everything is, all the CAP artifacts are under this namespace. So I need to make use of this namespace. So moment I say this and I paste here, and I will just say, okay, as database. Okay. So I'm just saying, okay, let's say you had 2, 3 more entities. I want everything to be available here in this service file. Okay. So then, so this is just a warning that, I am not using. Okay. See, it says that it's not being used. So it's just a warning. Okay. Now, so what I will do, I will just create a service. I'll just say service, and then office supplies service. Okay. And then, so now I just need to define an entity, right? The way you defined an entity here, suppliers, I'll define here also an entity. Entity suppliers, and you can name anything. Okay. For example, there we said suppliers, right? So let's just call it as suppliers only, but you can give any name to this entity. Entity suppliers as projection. I'll come to what is the projection on. So I'll use this DB, and under DB, what is the artifact? Database artifact suppliers, right? So I'm just doing a projection on top of this. Basically, projection is more of like you can define your fields. Okay. So I want all the fields. So I'm just doing a simple projection on this entity. So every field will be available here in this service entity. Now there are two entities. One is your database entity, which is called suppliers, and then another entity. I have kept the same name, but you can give any other name also. So let's just say suppliers in a supplier service entity, just to help you. It's a different name, yeah. So this is my service entity. Now let's just restart. I'll just say Control C, right, to terminate this server. Control C, clear, and I will again start the server. Now do you see it has also started serving this service, right? This service, Office Supply Service, is also being served, right? And it is listening on the same port. So let's just refresh this. Now do you see this endpoint? Anyone? See this? It has created an API automatically, just with one line of code, right? I didn't do anything. Now if I go here, if I do pretty print, there's no data. That's obvious because we have not defined any data, right? It's just a table and then a service on top of it. So my first API is ready, and you can see it's an OData API. Do you see this at the last OData, right? So this is my path to reach this entity, right? So if you, let me extract here. So you see this Office Supply OData. So it's a V4. Those who know OData V2 and V4, it's a V4 version of OData. And this is my kind of an Office hyphen supplies. It created an path, relative path automatically. And after that, this is my entity, supplier service entity, which is nothing but this, right? And then because there's no data, so that's why this value is coming as blank. Is it fine? Anyone? Any confusion over what we have done?
Great.
Okay. So now what I will do, I'll just add some data, nothing major. So I'll, see, either I can invoke this. Yeah, so this is actually fully supporting everything. Okay, I can, if I insert into this via an API call, we'll see that, not for today. You can also insert data. So it is a fully CRUD, CRUD, right? Create, read, update, delete. So it support all of these operations out of the box without even writing a single line of, not a lot of code, right? It's a very simple thing. But I don't want to, do that. I just want to have an initial data. So that moment the server starts, I want to have this suppliers populated. Is it fine what I'm trying to say? Moment I start this server, I should see some database entry. So in this table, I should have some records created. So what I'll do, I'll create a new folder. Let's call it as data. The naming convention is to, I don't know, but yeah, I'll create this, use this data. So under data, I will create a file. Okay. So it also has this naming convention. So whatever is your namespace, right? This namespace, I'll copy namespace hyphen your entity and then .csv. That's a naming convention if you want to deploy any file automatically, any data automatically. So I'll just say this, control V, okay, office suppliers.db hyphen, what is my entity name? Suppliers.csv. So I'm just creating a CSV file, some data, which will be deployed moment I start the server. And, I don't want to type in. So I hope I can use this. Wait. Okay, let's just, okay. I'll just, type in something. Don't worry. So I'll just have some. So what is the first field? So if I go here, ID, right? So let's be smart. Let's be smart, right? Let's be smart. I will not. I'll show you another cool thing. I don't want to waste time. So basically, it's a comma separated, CSV file with the field name. So first will be the field names. For example, ID, identifier, name, phone, email, postal code, all of these field names, and then after it you will have rows with the values. Okay, so column names like in an Excel, right? CSV Excel. So column names and the file data. So I'll use a smart way. Hopefully it will work. So let's just try that. I'll just say CDS add data. Now how is this coming? This is because I've installed CDS development kit. So I'm able to run this command. Let's see. It will, hopefully it will try to do that. Okay, let's just see. CDS add data, stop the server, enter. It didn't do. Fine. Successfully added. Okay, it also generated the file. It didn't do anything. Okay, let me then. Okay, let's just type in ID. It's a little painful. Yeah, fully ID. Okay, comma identifier name. Okay, let it be completed, and then I will give so support. I'm just using this copilot so I don't have to type. And ID is not integer; it's a GUID, right? So let me show you one cool thing. Okay, you don't have to learn it, but I'm just trying to do something smart. Don't worry, what is this REPL? We'll see once you get mature. I'm just trying to generate a GUID. Okay, CDS dot utils dot. I keep forgetting this UUID. Okay, it's a function. You see, it's a function, and I'll simply call this function. Yeah, I'm doing it on the terminal. So it's CDS REPL is a very cool way. Again, how do I know this? This is you will not find anywhere if you are. So after a lot of experience, serial experience, I know how things work, right? So I can run this REPL, which is basically a tool where you can play with CAP. So I'm just playing with CAP. I'm just using this function, which is inside cds.utils. UUID is a function. Okay, I'll just say enter, and here we go. Right. So I'll just copy this, and let's just type in Control V or Command V. I'm using Mac, so yeah. Now you have the initial data. Let's just start the server. npm run start local. Okay, sorry. I'm in the CDS REPL. Let me just come out, clear, and then I will run this. Start the application. Now, do you see? Let's just see. You see in it from where my mouse cursor is. It is trying to deploy the CSV file, right? So basically, it should have these values in the database now. Now, let's just run the server. I'll simply refresh the same endpoint. I'm just trying to get the data again. I'll just refresh, and now here you go. Do you see this data?
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Any questions, Hamid?
No.
So I hope at least you're getting a feeler. What we eventually plan to do. We'll learn a lot of concepts. For today, let me show you how you can see this data. I mean, it's all local. Let me try if I can show you this SQLite database. It's all in memory, right? Okay, let's try that. So now what I will do is if I remove this, okay, I'll just if and then command X. Okay, I don't want to populate any data, right? So now if I restart the server, right, because it's an in-memory database, so this content should go away, right? Let's try that. I'll control C and let's just start the server again. Okay. Now if I refresh this, I should not see the data, right? Because it was an in-memory data and I have removed the values, right? So it will not be deployed again. The data will not be deployed again to the database. Now you see it's again back to blank. Are you understanding what do you mean by this in-memory database? So let me come back, control S, and then now if I again do the same thing, I should have the data again because I have again my data is back. Yeah. Any confusion? Anything anyone likes to ask? Which you have not understood? Okay. Next is uh, let's see. I mean, one last concept, then maybe I'll not go into deep because I want to start with JavaScript basics first. So there is a very popular section called you can add some sort of a JSON. You can do a lot of configuration, yeah, in the package JSON. So let's just try configuring some stuff. I'll try to instead of in memory, I'll try to make it as normal database, yeah, which does not the data content should not be lost. Okay, okay, it automatically suggested. Let me just remove this. Okay, then okay, this is fine. So what I have done now, I have added the CDS section. Yeah,
Will you cover the UI part in this session? Like, uh, the,
yeah, I can do, but do you want me to do that? Because I'm going at a smaller pace.
uh, it's what?
As it's 10:25, so yeah, we are already quite ahead of the time. So don't worry, I will come to this UI part. I can follow a basically a normal template and I can show you a Fiori app. Okay, that's not a big thing. Okay, but I am trying to make you learn something which is at right now will make more sense, right?
Okay, okay,
Let's go a little step by step. Yeah. So now what I'm saying is that I am adding some configuration for the CDS. I'm saying that the database kind is SQLite. So by default, if you see the database kind, it was memory, right? So now if I just remove this in memory, I think one is this kind, okay, and then the other is SQLite, okay, and then model is basically where will my database be picked from my this file. So you can add a lot of configuration in CDS under the requires, yeah, a lot of things, and we will see slowly, what all things are possible. So and then you can see, for example, pass credentials, right? A lot of things you can do. I forgot the exact syntax. Maybe let's see if it does anything. I'll just do Control C, clear, and let's see whether it is still in memory. You see, last time it was in memory, right? What is the URL now? It's not in memory, right? It's not memory. It has created a database, right? Let's see. Right. Usually it should be here, here only. Usually you get to see that db.sqlite. Let's see. And I'll simply refresh this. Okay. Good that we are seeing this error. So now you see some error has come, right? SQLite error. It is saying that this table, supplier service entity is not there, right? Why? Because now we have shifted to actual database. You see db.sql, now you can see one SQLite, right? This is my actual table. It has nothing currently, right? So that's why it is complaining, because in memory does things easy for you. Moment you switch it to a permanent database, a transient database, right? Persistence based, then you you need to do a couple of things, okay, which is my next thing. So basically it is going into error. It's saying that there's no such table. Yeah, so it's failing basically. You see this at the terminal also, right? Now how do I do this? So now, like I said, so CDS is a tool. It's a command line client, right? You can use CDS REPL, for example. I showed you. So now then, how you can do this? So next command which I want to show is CDS deploy hyphen to this one, to SQLite. Yeah. So what I'm saying, take this schema and deploy it to this database. Yeah. Previously you didn't have to do, because you're using in-memory database. Now I have switched to a persisted database, permanent database, right? So I have to run this command. So the moment I say CDS deploy to SQL, let's see what happens. Now you see again it has deployed, and it has deployed the CSV, right? Correct. So now if I open this, yes, you see the magic. Can you see this table? Anyone?
Yeah, cool. Okay, the same thing we apply when we move data to HANA database, right?
Exactly. But because you are doing, you are just in the phase of development, right? You don't do HANA will take some time to deploy, right? It has a lot of behind the scenes things. So now with CAP, you can use any kind of data. I mean, I think it supports a lot many databases now, but I have used SQLite, PostgreSQL, right? And definitely HANA. It supports, you see, the development will still remain the same, even if I'm using SQLite, you know, uh, with PostgreSQL, HANA, my basic development steps are same. So
Okay.
CAP is allowing us to connect to any database which it supports. Okay, correct. So some clients they will say, okay, I don't want to pay for HANA; it's too expensive for me. Just okay. I have seen this. Okay, so they will say, no, no, I'll go for Postgre. My requirements are simple. Okay, in RAP, in a BAP world, there is no option apart to go from HANA, right?
Yes.
Correct. But here
Yeah.
it's anything, and I've shown you, right, how you can see. So you see my table name. What does the table name is? So the table name starts with office supplies underscore DB. So this is coming from my namespace, right? And then after that underscore my entity. My entity was suppliers. Do you see this?
Yeah.
Correct. Now this is the table. Let's see if it has any views. You see a view. Can anyone tell me what is this view? Just observe the name. How this view is getting created. Can anyone tell me? Let's see who has actually followed. Anyone? Why this view is also coming? Others? Has anybody?
No educated guess.
So the it is coming from you created this service. Remember?
Yeah. Yeah, all data service, right?
Yes. So moment you created this OData service, it has this entity, yeah, and that's why its name is also like that, right? So office supplier service underscore your service entity name, right? And now you understand why did we have this projection, right?
Uh,
So that's why, because we had the full projection, there was no excluding of any fields. That's why all the fields are there, right? And if you want, you can, I think, also view the data. Okay, I don't know, but I think so. You can see, okay, this is the data only of this, right? See, and the same data is being shown here, right? So let's just run the application now. we have deployed. That's the only additional thing which we had to do. And then I'll simply start the server. And now if I refresh, I see the data back. This time coming from permanent, database storage, right? Vishnu, are you there?
Yes, 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 Vipin.
So I think, see, that's what So this is where things get interesting. You can test locally. I have not shown you BTP. I have not connected to any service, nothing, right? It's just plain at your desktop level development, right? That's a power. So if you want, you can also, let me show you one more thing and then we'll wrap up. So if I don't want to, I don't want, for example, this ID, right? Nobody is interested in seeing this ID, for example, right? All interested in, identifying the supplier with this identifier field, right? Supplier 001, right? Nobody is, let's say, interested in this. So I can simply exclude this. So I'll just go here and I say excluding, yeah, and then I say excluding my field. I think should be like this. Yes, it has to come in this curly braces. Yeah, I can give a number of fields, ID, comma, any identifier. So that way you can do. So now if I do this, I I'll just do Control C, clear. Again, I need to do CDS deploy to SQLite, right? Because my this entity is changing now. Are you able to grasp this? Why do I need to do CDS deploy to SQLite again? Yeah. This time, if I go to my DB SQLite, refresh, you see ID is gone, right? And if I run the server again, I do this refresh, ID is not coming, right? Okay, so I mean, this is like very baby steps, but this was really important to understand, what is the benefit and how do I. So mostly it will be a little bit of theory along with practical, okay? And I'll push, basically I will create a GitHub repository and where I'll push in the code so that you guys can go through and really try your hands, right? I'll create a GitHub repository maybe once we are actually in the live class, yeah, maybe from tomorrow, yeah. And then so Hamad, was you were asking about how to add a Fiori app, right? So I can do that, but let me show you. So CDS add MTA, okay. So what does it do? It will create a deployment file. Okay, why I'm doing this because I want to use the template for creating Fiori app and not really spend some time. CDS add MTA. You see it has added this MTA file. Okay, this is a deployment descriptor file. Basically, this will be used by your BTP environment. So it is saying that it will be creating a CAP service with this name. Okay, and it will basically provide us with a URL, which will be basically Cloud Foundry level URL. Okay. So now, but this we'll see later on once we start more. But because you said you want to see Fiori and also, yeah. Let's see if I have this PDS preview. Okay. PDS. I think there is a command. I just don't want to spend time right now. PDS add HTML5. Okay. You see, okay. So you see, I made a mistake. So it started showing me, no, this command does not exist. And what all is supported with CDS add. CDS add is a tool, yeah, sort of a toolkit provided by SAP where you can add, all of these things. You see, so you can add a tiny sample, you can add handlers like we just added empty, right? So all of these things are possible. You want to add authentication, you want to add Postgre, attachment, malware scanning. So it supports a lot of things. So CDS add HTML5 app repo. I think this one. Actually, the thing is, I'm not using Bash. In Bash, it is very easy. Okay, we'll see what is a business application studio. So, moment you right click, you here only, you can see that option of creating a Fiori app. Okay, I'm trying to see if I can add it via.
I thought the Vision Studio and a batch is similar,
No,
because using
visual.
the same
I'll tell
engine.
you. I'll tell you. Yes, yes, yes. They are supposed to be similar, but actually it's not the case. See, if everything was same, then SAP would not have been able to sell Bash, right? Bash also has a subscription cost. Business Application Studio has a subscription cost. Why? Because it provides so many features out of the box. But in VS Code, for example, I told, right? If I right click, okay, on empty, nothing is coming, right? There are like nothing great, right? But if you do the same thing in Business Application Studio, it will. That's what I was trying to search if they have enabled now. Seems like they have not yet. So there is an option called uh, create MTA module from template. Okay, so basically everything is either a module, be it an OData service, okay, or be it a Fiori app, be it some sort of destination content. Everything is either a module or a resource. That's what this MTA file holds. So now you see, now I just added this HTML5, right? So we previously just had this OData service. Now you have one more module called app deployer. Okay. So this is also not helping us, but the point is that it has a lot of modules. So if I had Bash, I would have right clicked and said create MTA module from template. One smarter way. Okay. Yeah. So then it would have done the things easier for us, right? Now, how do I know this? So if so, uh, you have to add various extensions in VS Code. Okay, so there's an extension for tool that uh, toolkit. I forgot the name. SAP. You see, Business Application Studio Toolkit. For example, this will help you in connecting to Bash, and then this AI core which I have. There was something for SAP. Uh, okay, SAP UI5. You see, you have extension. No, no, no. There is one officially by SAP UI5 tools. I'll tell you the name. Okay. Maybe I can go to installed. You see, all these are installed, which I use in day to day. Okay. Record. You see, Fiori tools. Okay. This extension, Fiori tools, help you in adding the, CDS. I mean, not CDS. The Fiori apps. Okay. See Fuel. So this tool you need. Okay, but definitely it's not up to the mark. This is an extension pack which has a lot of these tools for the Fury. Service modeler, okay, application wizard. Okay, let's open this. Let's see if I can find command palette. Let's see. And then I will just say Fury. See open application generator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
And then you see all these are templates. Okay, it's installing. Maybe I used because I had to reset my VS Code. Now you see the template, Amit.
Yeah.
I just say, okay, I want to create a
List
list
report. Yeah.
report. Yeah,
There is some configuration required, and after that, it will apply the template,
exactly,
and the
exactly,
UI5 will be. Yeah.
exactly.
Is it possible for you to do these steps here?
Yeah, I'm doing. So just for I mean, I'll not build a detailed thing, but just to show you how you can do. So you can just say use a local CAP project. This is my CAP project name, CAP demo, and this is my OData service. Uh, Somehow error logs. Okay, let me start the server first. Okay. Okay, so it recognizes our project, right? Now let's do it again. List report page. Next, my data source is Visual Cap project. metadata is invalid. Okay. Actually, let me see if our metadata has some issue. Yeah. And if I just reload this, let's try with metadata. How you can see the metadata? So after your path, instead of entity, your capability, you just say dollar metadata. So it is saying that it has some issue. Okay. So it dumped basically, right? It gave this error. Let's see. So CDS compilation failed. Expected. Okay, we don't have key. You see? So good.
Yeah, yeah, look that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a key. Maybe here also we need a key. Yes, it is expecting a key in the service. Okay. And we excluded that. Right, Hamad. So we should not exclude the key, right? That's why it's going for a toss. So now I have everything. Now let's just see clear. Again, we need to do CDS deploy to SQLite, right? Then let's just run the application. Now let's see if we are able to get the meta. So now we have the metadata ready. Now I should
Yeah.
be able to generate the Fiori app.
Cool.
Let's go back, list report, next, use local cap project. Now it has recognized. Yeah, I just say next. Okay, and I just say, okay, this is my main entity. Automatically add columns. Yes, table type is responsive. I'm just basically, I have a list page where I have just the table. Okay, and I'm just saying add the columns automatically. Okay, so it will try to show all the columns. See, definitely we'll see in detail, but I'm just showing how you can create a Fiori app. And then I just give my, this is, like I said, everything is a module, right? Be it service, Fiori app. So this is my Fiori modules. I'll just say Fiori demo project, right? And what will be my app title? Let's say office supplies. Okay. I don't have any namespace, but usually your organization will have some namespace, right? Let's say IBM dot something, right? Let's say you're building under finance, IBM dot finance, right? Or IBM dot sales, where your application should lie. Yeah. But yeah, currently we don't need. So what is my UFI version? I'm using 1.1.38. Okay. And TypeScript, no, we are not using TypeScript. And yeah, all this configuration, and I say next. And basically, I'm not deploying anything. Okay. Deployment. Okay, I want 1 second. Next, how can I? Oh, I don't want any Fiori Launchpad configuration. Okay, no advanced option. No, let's just see. Okay, yeah, because I need to connect to Cloud Foundry. Okay, so okay, let me just provide a none. It's not taking. I need to connect to Cloud Foundry in real environment. Yeah. Uh, if I can skip this, let's just see. Fiori Launchpad. Next. That's an issue. But I hope you understood. I need to connect to Cloud Foundry, otherwise it is not allowing. Let's try once more. Demo project title is fine. No. What is this? Private documents. Yeah, that's an issue. Okay, I mean, we'll do it next time, but that's how you can create. Yeah? So it will. If I had connected to Cloud Foundry, right? It would have. The deployment configuration is coming, right, Hamad? So it is expecting me to deploy it on
But
Cloud
we
Foundry.
are not. We're not deploying the code. We are just applying the
Exactly.
template. Yeah. Why?
Exactly.
Why it is asking for that?
Okay,
I
let's see
think
then.
I miss a part.
1 second. Let's just use another then. Okay. So
Uh,
yeah. I'll show you. View command
is it?
palette.
Is it maybe due to you change in memory to database?
No.
Could be the reason. No. Okay.
No. See these templates, right? These are coming from SAP. I would have expected. Let's try with basic. Okay. I don't want to. Let's see if this custom page. Okay, let's just have work list. Let's see. I mean, I think these templates have this issue. Local project. Next. If yeah. Next. You must provide a destination name. Yeah, it is expecting Cloud Foundry and a destination name. Let me just say test. Problem is it is not allowing.
Oh, it should not allow you. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to basically have. I mean, in the next class we'll create a cloud. I mean, not in the next class, but after we complete this JavaScript basic, right? Then we'll create a Cloud Foundry BTP sub account, and then it should be able to. I will have to log in, and then it should work.
And you were saying when we are using all this thing in the Business Application Studio, it is more easier than using
Yes.
in Visual
Yes.
Studio. Okay.
Yes.
And one more thing, I was expecting a complete CRUD operation here, as you say earlier.
Yeah, yeah. I can show
So I
you that.
guess you should skip that. Is that maybe?
I mean, it supports. So, for example, okay, let's just cancel this. So right now our service is running, right?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
expecting at least you should cover the CRUD operation.
Yeah, yeah, it supports. I'll show you. For example, if you check this, uh, we need to enable. Okay, maybe 1 second. So you want to enable the CRUD, right? So for that, you need to enable like OData draft. Okay. So you need to enable the draft functionality. So CAP OData works upon uh, OData. I think here it will come at the rate data dot draft enable. Cannot be applied. It can be applied. Okay, maybe at the top. Sorry. So my entity has to be have OData draft enabled. Do you know what is a draft?
Um, is it some save the data in
It is basically that every I mean, so if you are typing in the UI, right, and you
yeah, yeah.
and you you know you want to come back after some time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
I got
just
it.
a temporary storage, so basically it will retain your data. So let's say you're not saving the document, still it will, you can reopen the draft and start re-editing. Okay. So now previously we only had, if I go to SQLite, right, we only had one table, right? There was no draft table, right? Now because we want to support create, so we need to enable the draft functionality. So in OData V2, draft was not mandatory, but in OData V4, you need to have this draft enablement, okay, so that you can create basically. Okay. And if I run this now, it is deployed to SQLite, start local. Okay. Now let's see. Okay. And now you see draft administrative data, some other things, right? Draft related. Yeah. Previously it was not there, right, in the metadata. And now if I show you the SQLite and if I refresh, you see draft table.
Yes.
This is my draft table. Okay. Yeah. So now I should be able to choose an endpoint. Okay. And let me show you that. So let's try to create. Okay. I'll create a new file called request HTTP. I want to send an HTTP request. Okay. And then I'll just say post, right? And let's just tab this out. I don't want to write in. So basically, what we have done for what is our service name? Let's just fix this. So if I go to my here metadata, okay. So this is my path, right? So under this path, let me copy this path, Command C, and I will come here. So my service name is by this, my entity is this, right? And this is my entity, right? And what is, I want to keep a different name than this. So supplier 001, right? So let's just say 002, yeah. And let's just say demo company and demo supplier, and let's just give something. Okay, uh, I'm just making it up. Okay, okay, that's fine. So now I'll send a request. So I have basically created a file called HTTP file by which you can do API request locally. Okay, again, no deployment, nothing. So I'll just say send request. Let's see. Yeah. ID, I hope ID actually is not needed because it should, okay, ID is needed, but tomorrow, I mean, maybe after some time, right, in the next classes, I'll show you this ID, right, which currently we are supplying, that will be auto generated by CAP. Okay, but for the time being, we need, yeah, because we are not following a couple of things in CAP. So it's, this is my ID, and I hope this ID does not collide with this CSV file, 8DD4F61A. Okay, let me change it. Okay, let me give 9. Okay, now we have unique ID, but this was the key, right? So unique ID identifier. Okay, now let's just shoot the request, and I'll say click on this button, send request. Connection was request rejected. What has happened now? Firewall is blocking. Okay, issue with firewall. Let's see. Let me just try again. Let's start local. I have ready. Just see post COPO data. Okay, okay, sorry. We need to give this local host, right? HTTP localhost 404, where my application is running, right? It's running on this port, and I think our path is wrong. That is the issue. Localhost. What is the path? So localhost and OData v4. Yeah. So this is, I think, this Copilot has made this blunder. So I'll remove this. OData v4, right? And Office supplies. Yeah. Okay. Now it should work. Fine. So our path was wrong. So my application is running this on 4004 port, OData v4, Office supplies, and then my entity for which I'm doing a CRUD operation. And this is my data. Let's just send this request. And here you go. 404 not found. What is not found? Office supplies. What is the entity name? Have we changed this? Our entity name, suppliers. Set supplier service entity. Content type is okay. This one. Our path is wrong, is it? Let me try doing a get call.
Hello.
Our path is still wrong. So let me copy from here. Then service entity. Was there any typo? Okay, data 4. Yes, there was a typo here. Let's remove this. Let's try. We don't need this actually, HTTP. Okay, let's try. Control S. Let me restart the server. Okay, it's fine here. I'll close this response. I'll send it again. You see 201.
Yeah.
So it says created this. Okay, and you see a call going, post call going. Now if I refresh to my same entity, supplier, okay, is entity name, supplier service entity. So previously we had only one record. Let's see how many do we have now. And okay, I got it. So now this is a little bit more tricky. You might be wondering why we get 201, right? Why it is not coming, correct, Aman?
Yes.
Because it has created a draft. You remember?
Yes. Okay.
So we had enabled draft, right? Now, if you retrieve the draft, you will be able to see. For example, if I go to DB table, right? If I say refresh, and if I open this, okay, let me close everything. Okay. Now if I expand this, should be how I can see data. Fresh. This one data viewer actually. This is also a tricky thing. But basically, it has created a draft. Okay. This extension should have worked.
So you are saying the API send the data to the draft table, right?
Yes, because
So there is another trick to move the data from
exactly,
the draft table, right?
exactly. So that is called as draft activation. Okay, because see, we are not able to create Fiori app, right? Because of this Cloud Foundry thing, destination thing, right? But this one is creating a draft. Now you need to activate the draft. Okay, so there is another syntax. Post. Basically, it's a function, inbuilt function. Okay, and then draft activate. So basically, you take this ID. Okay, and then I think there is something called draft activate or something. Activate. For example, after this, there will be some action. Okay, let me just ask GPT only. I forgot. Activate draft. Yeah, all of these things you will not have to do if you have a Fiori app, right? So this URL. So there's just a custom action. That's taking my activate draft. I have it my another repository. Yeah, it's fine. SAP CAP HTTP request. Yeah, so once you do this,
So
draft activate. Yeah, this is the
we
one.
can directly pass the data to the table through API.
Sorry.
We cannot directly pass the data to the table through API. Is there any limitation that we forward the data to the draft table and further
Yes.
action?
So a CAP, we are so this is OData V4. Okay. So version 4 in CAP, and in fact in RAP also, RESTful Application Running Model, you need to have draft enablement. Otherwise, in Fiori app, create button will not come. Okay, you can there is a concept called lean draft, which again is an advanced stage, but by default, any of your CAP entities need to have OData draft if you want to enable create. Okay. There is some configuration which I will tell you maybe in the next class, but usually we don't do that. Without draft, you don't do that. There's something like bypass draft in the CDS requires, right? We're telling you the configuration, right? So there is a you can enable lean draft and bypass draft functionality, via which you will be able to simply call this directly without creating draft. But in real applications, you will not do that. Yeah.
Mm, okay.
Okay. So now let's just try this. I have my ID, which is this one, 99, this, and I'm just saying draft activate. Yeah, correct. And then it will activate the draft. Let's just see what happens now. So I need to have two more enters. Hash, hash. Yeah. So basically, now you see this enter. Previously, it was not coming, right? It's just an, separator for the two requests. Okay. And now let's try this send request. Method not allowed for singleton, and I think I forgot local host, supplier, service entity. Okay, okay. It's not, I mean, it's not that way. I think it is, should be like this. Yeah. Let's try passing like this. Okay. I just, instead of slash, so it has two syntax. Either you pass with slash or you pass like this. This is more better. Let's try this. Now I will send it again. Key is missing. Okay. So it is saying ID. So let's just say ID equals to, right? This is an ID field. ID equals to this. Now let's try. I mean, it's a little tricky. Is active entity. Okay. So now what is active entity? So moment you activate draft, there are two entities, active entity and draft entity, right? Because I'm activating a draft, so is active entity will be uh, is active false. Okay, right? Yes. So basically, I'm trying to activate a draft. So is it is active entity? Okay. How about this? If you can also check this, how you can check if you follow this path, right? So this path, and if I just say, you see, is active entity, right? So because we added draft, so it added this is active entity true. But for this one, this active entity will be should be false, right? Let's try now. In this syntax, now finally you have 201, right? So we have activated the draft now, right? Now let's try. We'll just say refresh. Here you go. You see the second entry now, Amit?
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Yeah,
I mean, these concepts definitely you might not be able to understand in first go, this draft thing. So we'll come to this once you start learning Fiori. But I've shown you, that everything works out of the box by this draft annotation. Yeah. I mean, I think we have learned a lot of things today. So don't
yeah,
just demo, request HTTP. Okay, what is this? What is this? You know, how to
yeah.
create.
I really appreciate your efforts. Yeah, it's a good session, I must say.
I meant you. So this was it. So we will come back to Fiori apps later on. Fiori Elements is a bigger topic. We'll create the full app. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully you like the demo. And if you have any questions regarding course content, you can ask. Or I think, yeah, the visual path is also there. So anything you would like to add?
Not from my side. It was a good session. I really appreciate your efforts, and you
Yeah, I
covered
mean,
a lot.
there were some hiccups because I really wanted to do it raw. Okay. I wanted to do it raw so that you understand how do I, resolve things, right? And I just wanted to be, as raw as I can. I could have come prepared and, shown you some slides. That will do it in the next classes, right? Where I'll show you proper way. This was just
Yeah, I
more.
understand. Yeah,
Okay. And so this I will disable next time, this GitHub thing, so that, we really write on our own. Yeah. So moment you start learning, you have learned, then you can switch to GitHub Copilot. Initially, it will be very confusing. It will give you wrong syntax and, you'll be in trouble.
yeah, makes sense.
Okay, that's it from my side. And yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. I'll stop sharing.
For your time, thank you, Visualpath.